brought me sprinkle cookies.
The what, no fucking TV now? Hey!
Maybe she's from Jersey.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Maybe She's from Jersey. We are your hosts, Jackie Niece.
Did you forget?
For a second, I was like, what am I supposed to do here? And I was like, introduce myself.
Jackie Niece, Alyx
Curtis. I said it before you. Just in case you forgot.
Yeah.
Our food of this episode is New York Bagel and Deli from Ewing, New Jersey. I got a bacon and egg on a plain bagel.
Weird, right?
Yeah.
No cheese.
I don't,
bagel.
if I don't have to eat cheese, I won't, unless it's like mozzarella, like fresh.
Cut the
Great.
mozzarella.
That should have been our jingle.
I know. I picked the smallest bagel they had because I'm trying to be healthy. But it's really good. Guys, I waited for this. Listen to this crunch.
That's a solid crunch. What?
That's a fire bagel.
The one you just ate?
Well, yeah, but that looks really good.
This does
I
look
got a
really
boring
good.
one. I just got butter on a multigrain. Did you toast it?
I don't know.
Ew, I don't like your
I don't want
ASMR.
I got a blueberry muffin from there too, so.
We're bringing all the snacks.
Yeah, so sorry.
Okay. So we're going to be talking about working women because holla.
Yeah.
All right. So today's podcast, like I said, is working women. And we're here to talk about working, which sucks sometimes, and being a woman in the work field. We have completely different fields. I am in science and more like corporate America, and she just like wings her life.
Yeah, okay. That's exactly what I do.
You're like, I don't know, you have like 7 jobs.
Yeah.
So you
I
could
do.
probably talk more on this than anybody because in each like realm or field that you're in,
Yeah.
you have different experiences.
Yeah. I mean, I'll say what I'm working towards to do full time in a financially stable mindset is I'll just wrap it up as like I'm an entertainer. I'm a singer. I'm an independent artist right now. I'm a dancer, so I love touring and doing concerts and things like that. If this is out before May 28th, come to my show at the Mercury Lounge. I think I'm on at 9:00. But yes, my main thing is I'm an independent artist. But along with that, through the pandemic, I just started picking up other things of just like social media, things like that. So I'll just wrap it up as I'm an entertainer in whole. Like I'm on TikTok presence. Like I have my own thing called Sundays at Jackie's, which is just like highlighting Italian American businesses, highlighting my personal culture in honor of my dad. And then we have our podcast, Maybe She's from Jersey. And then just to be financially stable, I work like 3 other jobs
Yeah.
through the week. So
I should pay you to be my friend.
What does that mean? Oh, yeah.
Because
okay.
you come here so often, and when you work out and become famous, you can pay me to be your friend.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
When do we set up the payment?
Later.
Okay.
Okay. So what do I do? Well, it's nothing as cool as that. I work for a big pharma company, and I'm on a team that maintains a cell line for a vaccine. I tried to make that sound cool. It didn't.
No, it's not cool.
I couldn't make it. Okay. So yeah, it's pretty straightforward. I'm very much cross-trained, so I do more than, my job description. I do more than just maintain the cell line, but I'm in the lab a good amount of my job. And it's sporadic throughout the week, and me and my team rotate, tasks, and then I also help other teams, and like I said, I'm cross-trained. So my day-to-day is 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. We work from home 2 days, super boring. One day I'll be able to take a photo and make money from it. So we just thought we'd kind of jump in. We've both been working since we were young.
Yeah.
Like I think my first job, not super young. My first job was 17. Nothing crazy. When I basically was able to drive my car, I was able to get a job. Okay, so what was your first job?
I was just thinking about that. I was like, what the fuck was my first job? Yeah. Well, I don't know if this counts, but I grew up in a performing arts studio. So I'd go to regular school all day and then do whatever my regular public school show was till 5:30. And then from 6 to 10 at night, I'd take dance classes and singing classes and acting classes at this performing arts studio. And that was like, I was in their performing arts company. So that was a yearly thing that my parents would pay for. So with that, you could assist younger kids dance classes. So I would always assist like I think I had like 3 to 4 year olds and then like 7 to 8 year olds. So you would get technically like money off of, your yearly thing if you did that. So that was a big thing I did. I don't know if that's considered work. I was also a camp counselor. So. Yeah, right. I don't know if that's like, I was also a camp counselor, and then I worked at like a sports place for a hot second, and then I got hit in the head with a ball one day, and I was like, this is not for me. And then what else did I work? I started working at Liberty National when I was like 18 or 19 years old. And I've literally worked so many different jobs there that I haven't been at the same like thing there. So I don't know. And like babysitting, I guess, right?
Yeah. I would say my first job was babysitting at 9 years old. Very mature. Got my first cell phone out of it. So like I was happy. I babysat up until I was like legally able to drive and get a normal person job. Regret that decision. I worked at like a local food store. Nice. If anyone's been a cashier, God bless. And then I was a waitress. We've done it all. So what educational background or professional training have you had for the jobs that you've worked at?
Like, do you mean the ones that I'm working at to like pay my bills, or the ones that I'm working to like
the ones that you want to do and the ones that you currently have? Do you have any training? Like, obviously you don't need to have a degree to work at a golf club, but what's your degree in?
Well, my degree literally says I like to sing. I got a bachelor in fine arts in musical theater. So that's my training of theater, but I've literally been training in theater and arts and performing since I was 7 years old. Like I said, like I'd go to my performing arts studios every single day after school, and then Saturdays and Sundays we'd have rehearsals all day. I had like a 3-hour ballet class at 9 a.m. on Saturdays. By the time I walked out of that class, my legs were shaking. Like that was my whole childhood.
Yeah, that's wild. That sounds like slavery.
No, I loved being there. I really did.
You're gonna like a dance monkey.
Yeah, that's what I was and am, and I love it.
Okay.
But yeah, that's my training in that. And then other things, it was like Liberty was more of the thing of like I was being taught. I worked at the front desk for a little while, worked in serving. Like those were jobs I never
Customer service teaches you a lot.
Oh my God. To be honest, I have learned more working at Liberty in all those different areas than I have anywhere else about anything.
Especially because celebrities go there. So you almost have to, like, I know this is easier said than done. Like, train your brain. Don't react. Don't say anything. Like, so at Liberty, you're not supposed to be like, oh my God, I love you. Can you sign this? Can you take a picture? That's not a thing. And rightfully so. They're paying for a membership to just golf, not like be bombarded by fans. So I think that takes a lot of, like, what's the word? Composure. Yeah. Takes a lot of composure. So for my background, you do need extensive educational training, sadly. My undergrad is in biology with a minor in American Sign Language. Why? I don't know. And my graduate degree was from Thomas Jefferson for biomedical sciences. Do I sound smart or what?
You are smart.
Yeah. All right. So for this job, it is a beginner level job, but I wouldn't have gotten it without either of my degrees, I guess. But this position is very stressful in the sense that, not that we're an assembly line, we're not like a machine making things, but I'm the first of the assembly line, like my team. So if we mess up and the assay or the experiment goes wrong, it could be because of us, not because the experiment failed and like something we were testing for the vaccine failed or did well. Like, So it's almost like we always have to be on our A game, because without the cells properly, expressing certain things or being fully grown or healthy, nothing will work. So super fun. Oh, did you receive like on-site training? Yes. I talk to you every day about it. Training at my job was so scary and stressful, because I've never worked in pharma, let alone, something as serious as making a vaccine. I put a lot of pressure on myself to learn it quickly, but it was still like COVID heavy, at least at the company I was at, not in the world. But they were super strict. So I only was in the office every other 2 days, and the trainings weren't as consistent, to no one's fault. But when you're in a corporate America type lifestyle, career, I'm sure anyone out there, you want to impress the fuck out of them. And it was just, I don't know, maybe it's just me. I'm sure other people could relate. I was so stressed out and like seriously giving myself stomach aches and like headaches and trying to learn everything I could quickly. I was just so nervous to get hands on. And then when I finally did, I kind of fell into it. I felt comfortable, and look where I'm at now. I'm like running the place. Just kidding. If anyone's watching, just kidding. Okay. This is a fun one. What has been your favorite job? And why? Like, why'd you love it?
I do love working at Liberty. Just like, I think the energy of everything, the faculty's great, the membership is great, the views are beautiful. It's such a beautiful facility to walk into every single day.
Yeah, when you post pictures, I'm like, wow.
I know. Everyone's like, do you golf? And I'm like, no, I serve tables. But I love being there. Like, it's a very good place to work. I really love it a lot. I feel like I've just like learned so much there in all aspects of life. Besides that, I haven't with like my music stuff, I'll say working as in like, I guess like opening for somebody or something like that. There's been a few performances I've had that I I love, but I'd say overall, like my favorite things that I like is performing. So opening for artists is like my favorite thing.
Or being the one that gets opened for.
We're not there yet, but just mark my words, it'll happen.
Okay. Love that for you. I literally don't like any of the jobs I've had. Because I'm not like passionate about it.
Right.
I guess I would say babysitting, because when you work with, I'm sure most college, any girl that's been to college or is in college, high school, whatever, can relate. But it's just, I think being a babysitter is kind of a catch-22, but it's good in the sense that it's never the same thing every day. And if you enjoy the kids, you give them back. So you kind of enjoy your time. But I have this one family that I still to this day will visit, and I'm obsessed with them. They're just so good, which obviously helps. And their parents are really nice. And I almost like talk to them like they're my friends. Like we catch up before they leave for their night. And me and the kids just hang. We play. I was going to say we play games. We don't. This set of children could care less. They're like, let's watch Scooby-Doo. I'm like, done.
Yeah.
Which one?
I know, right?
And then we'll, their parents order food for us. And sometimes the mom will be like, what do you want specifically? I'm like, oh, that's so kind of you. Yeah. And then the kids go to bed super easy, and they're just really fun. It's kind of like training to be a mom at this point.
Yeah, that makes sense. I feel like I've learned a lot babysitting too, that I'm just like, sometimes I see other people and I'm like, how do you not know that? And they're like, well, I don't have a kid. And I'm like, well, I don't have a kid. And I'm like, oh,
well, even
hours.
Even just like, like watching parents parent their children is wild, especially when you have no relation to them.
Right.
And I actually enjoy that the most, I think. Like, looking back, all the families that I've watched, especially the one that's, like, my favorite, I learn so much from, like, their parenting styles, like, how they treat their kids. Yeah. They talk to them like adults.
Right.
But, like, they're nurturing and warm. And, yeah, like, the one girl, I brought Dunkin' Donuts because I thought I was being cool. And I was like, look, we're having pizza. I brought donuts. And she was like, and she wasn't really eating them. And I was like, oh, do you not like the donuts that I brought? Thinking like maybe she doesn't like chocolate. I don't know. She's like, Well, we get Montclair Bread Company every Saturday. This is a Friday. So every Saturday. So I'm going to save for that. I was like, one, have both. And two, well, fuck me. And I'm like, she's not wrong, though. Like, Dunkin',
Montclair
Bread Company.
Yeah.
But she's just so unfiltered and so funny. So
Love
I think
it.
in the sense of my favorite job, I would have to say babysitting only because of the shit that I hear.
Yeah.
And I usually don't have bad experiences. I'm just not one of those babysitters that puts up with like any bullshit. And I think the kids like get it. Because my friends that sit them as well will be like, I don't know what to do. They're running around naked. And I'm like, FaceTime me right now.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
But I'm not mean.
Yeah.
Like when I'm there, they're so chill. I don't know. It's like a vibe. They get it.
Maybe. Maybe it's a vibe.
Do you want to ask the next question?
Okay. Let's see.
Let's see what we got.
How did you balance your job with family life, volunteer work, hobbies, and other interests? Did that balance change over time? That's a huge one for me because I literally, like, I don't go to a 9 to 5. I mean, I do, but then after it's like my career, like, of the entertainment field. So a lot of that is social media. And like currently I'm dating someone right now who's turning 30 or is 30 and doesn't give a shit about social media, does not keep up with what goes on in that stuff. And like, I feel so bad because sometimes I'm like, can you just take a picture of me? Or I'm like, do you mind if I like record this TikTok? Or like, I don't know, I'll be out like with family and I'm like, oh, that's such a good idea. Let me just like get this background in. And, you know, like I'm constantly on. Like there's no 9 to 5. I don't clock out and then go home and spend time with my family. It's more like I'm constantly creating content, constantly trying to create, constantly trying to get like take advantage of the areas I'm at and things like that. I'm very grateful that my boyfriend is very, very, very supportive, which
like,
is
never
awesome.
Turn off.
He literally they'll bring food to our table and he'll be like, take your pictures now. And he's like, do you want me to take any photos of you? Like, which is so nice. But I also understand how people can get really annoyed with that. Cause it is like, just put your phone away. Like, let's enjoy, like, you know, I get that. So I think that's my hardest thing is finding the balance of family and lifestyle and this and that, because I'm constantly with my phone, like, you know, filming everything. So I definitely need to work on that balance more. But I'm also, if you have advice on that, let me know, because I don't know what to do.
I don't even know how you would balance it,
Yeah.
because there's too much.
Yeah.
In order to balance something, you need to have some sort of break.
Right.
To take the transition.
Yeah. And it's really like, I don't know, like if I'm traveling somewhere, like for example, like Steve and I went to go see like Sebastian Maniscalco, like obviously I want to film stuff there and take photos and just being a human, I think you want to do that. But like that's, I'm like, oh, that would be a great TikTok to do this, that. And then I feel bad because I don't want to spend the time on my, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, so I definitely try to figure out how to balance that. But yeah, it is a weird thing. So I'm still trying to figure that out. I've found that normally if I know I'm going somewhere, like for example, if like we're going golfing, I don't go golfing often, but like say that's it. And like I want like a cute TikTok or a cute photo. I will spend the first like 30 minutes doing that. Done, over, now enjoy my time. Like I feel like, and if like there's another second to film another one, great. But like I think I want to do that like in the first 30 minutes, so it's out of the way, I'm not bothering anybody, and move on. But yeah, that's something I definitely
when I came
struggle
to
with.
golf at Liberty, you know, the workers there get 1 day a week to, like, while it's closed, to bring guests, whatever. So I got to go. The whole time I took TikToks.
Yeah,
that was me driving. This scene looks good, let's drive up here, let's do here, let's do here. So I'm just like in charge of the golf cart. Stop. It was freezing out.
It was freezing.
And she was like in a tank top and like, let's do it.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, can we just enjoy today? And she's like,
no.
Nope.
No, that's not what it's about.
And
it was
you bought me pancakes after, so
I did. What's your work-life balance?
That's hard because, agreed, yours is way different than mine. And I'm sure people with children, like, God bless.
I know, literally.
Seriously, I'm so afraid to have children, because I feel like now, I'm sure everyone can say this too, like when you were in school, you were stressed before you entered college. Like, how am I going to manage all of these classes, studying, homework, papers, events? And then like if you joined an org or you were in a sport or in a club, how are you going to do that? How are you going to have a social life? How are you going to see your family? but you figure it out.
Yeah.
I don't know how it works, but it's like your body, your mind's like compartmentalizes everything properly and for the most part, and it works. So same thing when I moved away from college, started grad school. I'm like, I have to pay bills. Like I have my own apartment now. It's not like college where I can just dorm. Well, I could have, but it was still just expensive. So yeah, like I'd have to work, do a full-time job, and be in a lab.
Yeah.
Also basically like 30-ish hours a week, and weekends. Like, how am I gonna do it? I figured it out. So now in my current situation, I, work 9 to 5, 3 days a week. 2 of them I'm home for the most part. And the 2 days that I'm home, I get all my shit done at home.
Yeah.
So I have my laptop set up, and, I can see my schedule, like what meetings, like I'm going to go throw laundry in. And then like, if a meeting's happening, I'll pull it up and I'll be folding laundry.
Yeah.
Or like I'll meal prep those days. If I have downtime, which I usually do. And then those are the days after work, I could go food shopping. I'm not like super tired.
Right.
But again, if I didn't work from home, it would have to be Saturday.
Right.
And that fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Saturday's my day for like Hot Girl Saturday. So yeah, that I don't know. But for right now, that's what I do. When I come home from work, I have an hour commute, which sucks. And I literally come home, go to the gym, and then I come home, shower, cook dinner, and then I go to bed.
Yeah.
It's almost like Groundhog Day sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's really unfortunate.
Could you imagine coming home to kids?
No.
I don't know how people get shit done.
Our parents, like, I always tell my mom that I'm just like, how did you, and my mom was a director of a board, like she got laid off a long time ago when the stock market crashed, but she was a big wig and she would travel, and I don't know how she came home from work and would be like, hello.
Yeah.
Like, I walk in the door and thank God Leo could care less, but I'm like trudging up the steps. Like, I just want to sit.
I don't know. I don't. Even like the woman I nanny for right now, she has 3 kids, and I'm like, I literally every day I'm like, you are superwoman. And she's like, oh, I'm having such a rough day, and I'm like, I don't care, you are superwoman.
Yeah.
Like, she's like, sorry, it's such a mess. I'm like, literally, I would be weirded out if your place was clean right now. Like, you have 3.
And she has you.
Yeah.
Imagine moms that don't have you.
Yeah. Well, I just started, and she says, she's like, thank God. She's like, my week runs so much smoother, because it that's another thing too. Like, working women, like, I feel like this has changed of the woman staying at home, cooking, cleaning, taking care of the kids, and the father goes to work, or the husband. Now it's like 50-50. Like, you're both working jobs, you're both taking care of the kids. Like, there's so much that has changed in that dynamic.
We can dive in on that, honestly, because I want to be a mom soon. I don't got nothing
Soon?
but yeah, in the next 2 years.
No.
Yeah.
No, I'm not ready.
We're 25.
Yeah.
Pushing 26.
No, it's a no.
Anyway, I want to be a mom soon, and I want to figure out how to do it all. I'm sure you're never fully ready, but I see memes, I see Facebook posts. I know moms our age, older, younger, whatever. And it's so crazy because things have changed. Like, moms are more in the working force than ever, but they come home and I don't know, this may sound a little risque, but their jobs don't end. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Every family dynamic is probably different, but I feel like the kids rely on the moms a little more.
Oh yeah.
The moms, the women in the households, at least the girls that I know, they're the cook.
Yeah.
They like to cook. They're good at it. The husbands can order pizza.
Yeah, literally.
But that's it. Like, they're not, or, frozen food, which, sometimes you do.
Right.
But I'm like, that sucks. So they work a 9 to 5. They come home and they're basically the sole chef. And they clean. And I'm, God bless. But I also can see the opposite. Like, I don't think I ever want to be a stay-at-home mom because I'm just someone that always has to be stimulated in the sense of adults surrounding me.
Right.
But I see the allure. I don't know. I see why people want to be stay-at-home moms. I just had a nephew and I'm obsessed with him. Yeah. And, my sister, hopefully sister-in-law, says, like, I'm so sad to leave him. I want to stay with him all the time. I'm like, I can only imagine. He's so freaking cute. So and having the ability to see every milestone, be there for, you know, the first fall, like be able to comfort them.
Right.
I also think there's nothing wrong with being a stay-at-home mom. I think that's beautiful. And I think if I was financially able to at least do it for the first 2 years or like before daycare, I would do that. I don't think I would do it forever, but, or even just the school system sucks.
Right.
Get your shit together. Yeah. The school system's terrible. There's some corrupt things going on, and you know, most public schools have a set curriculum. It's hard to change. Yeah. So I also understand why people want to homeschool and kind of lean into that with being a stay-at-home mom. Yeah. So I don't know. Working women can be a stay-at-home mom or literally in the office. Yeah. But what I'm saying is those women that are in the office and then come home and, you know, do their job as a mom, like maybe as a single mom, like completely alone, like you deserve, I don't know, $1 million.
Literally. Literally. Wait, I have another question that just like sparked my, and I want people to feed in on this one too and let me know your opinion. But do you think women should be given days off from work for period cramps or having your period? Now, hear me out. Okay. There was a study that says some women experience such terrible period cramps, it is the same amount of pain as a heart attack. Like, that's how your body takes it in. And I know that sounds so dumb, being like, oh, give a day off. Like, she has really bad cramps. I also get such bad cramps that I almost pass out. Like, and I can't even think straight that day. Like, and I know that sounds ridiculous, but I'm also like, if you don't have a uterus, then you don't really know like what that feels like. And some women don't have bad cramps. Like, they're like, oh, got my period cramp, keep going. Like, and if this is TMI, let me know. But really, like, there's some women that I've met that are like, my period cramps are so bad that I literally get sick and like pass out. Like,
so that happened to me. That's why I'm on birth control. They were really convinced I have endometriosis, but I never went through with the biopsy or whatever. I was really scared. I was young. But the pill like took that away. I've almost passed out twice. Yeah. I would leave school. I would cry. I used to have to take my dad's prescription back pain medication because it would relax the muscles. Yeah. It was torture. Like, and I knew when it was coming on. It was kind of like a migraine, like, you know, it's different than a headache. So yes, in that sense, if I didn't have medicine, absolutely, I couldn't move. I was crying all day. Right. But I had medicine. Mm-hmm. The medicine I took was literally a narcotic, and it was like not allowed for children. Don't get my daddy in trouble. But it was the only thing that helped, and I was way out of it because the narcotic. Nowadays, there's plenty of medicines that you can take. So it's like, yes, and it's an excuse, but I do think you would need a doctor's note. Right. In the sense of, yes, hers are, because you know there's people taking advantage of it. And that's the reason working from home was never an acceptable thing, because I'm sure people took advantage of it and companies were like, nope, not happening. Right. It's always those people. So I think, yes, if you were able to, which you should, if you really were having that bad of cramps, a doctor's note, just be like, you know, when she feels necessary to stay out, you know, I'm the doctor condoning it, essentially, then yes, because I've been where you are. Right. It's so awful. And aside from just being physically, you are not fully there. When you're hormonal, you're all over the place. It is weird that you have to, you're being yourself. Like, what's happening to you is very natural, but like what you're expressing to other people is like not really you. Yeah. So to other people, to men especially, they're probably like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I know. And you're just like, I just have my period. And they're like, okay. So? Yeah. And you cannot explain it to somebody that doesn't have it. Thankfully, I haven't had major symptoms because of my birth control. Shout out to Junelle. But yeah, otherwise, I would be a zombie because I would have had to take like serious pain medication. I feel like I also just, like, when I do get cramps or my period, like, my whole body is in like inflammation. Like, I feel it in my brain. Well, you're like, just like a walking problem. Well, yeah, but we're not even going to get into that in the podcast. We're going to leave that out. But like, I literally feel like my
like I have like brain fog.
Yeah.
And like and sometimes when you're just like in such bad pain, you're like, I actually can't even have a conversation right now. Like I need to just crawl up into a ball and hide in a dark room. Like,
but that could go for anything. Migraine, like migraines are debilitating.
Oh my God, yeah.
I've never gotten a migraine at work, thank God. But I have in my other job, like babysitting, I've gotten a migraine for the boys. And I literally sat on their couch with like a cold towel over my head. And the boys, thank God, were so good. And I just said I had a headache. And they were like, okay, like super sweet. But I could not move. I ended up falling asleep. But yeah, like it was debilitating.
Yeah.
I couldn't move.
Yeah.
So if that happened at work, I would have to go home. But same goes for men. Like, this isn't necessarily a woman problem.
Right. I just think in the sense of if you are a female or born a female, like you do get a period, and like it's literally uncontrollable. So I'm just always curious about it. Not that I think it should be or vice versa. Like I'm just up for open conversation about it, because I just think I have met so many women who are like, I'm not getting out of bed today. Like,
well, what's sad is where do they work that they can't express that?
Well, this is another thing, is like, you know, in the workplace, telling a man, if you have a boss who is a male, they don't understand. Like they might really think that that's an excuse.
Yeah, for sure. But can I just say, my boss is a guy, and I think he's just like, we're also at a time in like this age that women are really pushing the boundaries and that glass ceiling. And I'll say something to a guy like, I have cramps, and they're like, are you okay? Do you need something? Do you want to go home?
Oh,
like,
really?
Yeah, I get the positive reaction from
that's great.
What we've pushed as women,
that's
which is great. Especially if I'm like, you know, one of my coworkers is trying to have a family, and she expressed that, and you know, I'm sure when that day comes, I know the men in my building will be like, you know, if she's ever like, oh, I don't feel good today, they would never be like, too bad. That's great. I'm very fortunate in that sense. But if I ever had that experience, I'll just be a raging bitch. I'll be like, okay, so I'll come in tomorrow.
Yeah.
See what happens.
Right. I've never had that scenario as well. Or I don't even know if I ever really even brought it up to work. Like I feel like normally I lie, and I'll just be like, I was like throwing up all day or something.
Yeah, the flu.
And I'll just like not even say it, because I don't want the thing of like, oh, you can't handle that because you get a period once a month, or I don't know. But and not that I assume those people would, I just to avoid it. But I do know that there's scenarios in workplaces and things like that where people are not understanding of that. So that breaks my heart. And I don't know, I just love open conversation about that.
Well, you let us know. I'll send them a letter.
Yeah.
Is there anything you wish you'd done differently to this point, job, career-wise?
Anything you wish you'd done differently?
Because clearly you're working towards this insane goal, and it takes so much more than a degree. And, you know, like for me, I got my degree and maybe a little of experience, and boom, I can get a job. So, like, that's not the case for you. Do you regret anything you've done thus far?
I don't think so.
How you did it?
No, I think I've learned so much, and through trial and error, unfortunately. But my dad always said things like, self-accomplishment is the highest high in the world. Like, that is the greatest high in the world, is when you work your ass off and you achieve something. There's nothing better than that. And I feel like and I'm learning that, because every single day I'm waking up before work to do my content, to do this, and then I'm going to work, you know, then I'm working out, and then I'm finishing the content, or I'm working on music, and I wake up the next day, I do the same day. And there's some days where I'm like, what the fuck? Like nothing is moving.
You call me those days.
I do. But, you know, it is really frustrating because it's not instant gratification. What I'm doing is a long-term goal. Like, it's not something that's going to happen overnight. Like, people say, like, overnight success. It's not. It's 5 to 10 years that you did not see the grind, you know?
Right.
So, no, I don't regret anything. I think I'm working like a dog, and I work like that because I know it's going to happen. Nothing regrets. There's wishes. I wish that I had things more accessible to me, or I wish that, you know, I had finances to help me, you know, get to that next level, because I know I'm ready. It's just there's certain things that are out of my hands. You know, and I also think sometimes being a woman, you know, and doing business can be very intimidating growing up. And one thing maybe I'd say maybe I do regret then is not having enough assurance in myself. Because sometimes I'd go to a meeting and they would tell me things I already knew. And I would sit there and go, yeah, oh, okay. Instead of being like, I fucking know that. I don't need you to explain it to me. I know. What's next?
Mansplaining.
Yes. And it happened in the past couple of weeks to me again. And I was like,
you almost like have to stroke their ego and be like,
but
thank you.
Well, that's what I've been done for so long. And then I was like, I've been very grateful to work with men in the music industry who are such gems. Like I don't have many stories of, like, I have been so grateful to work with men that I've been like, I've learned so much from, who have helped me, like, so grateful. So in those senses, like, you know, I don't have those things, but there are moments where I meet people or I go on a meeting or whatever, and they mansplain things to me, and I'm like, I know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just like, I'm wasting seconds. Like, I know this information.
The mansplaining thing will never go away. I was in science and that happened to me. I mean, I did need a little help, but like mansplaining is like being derogatory, in some sense, like condescending almost. Yeah. Like, I'm not dumb.
Yeah.
Why are you speaking so slow?
Yeah, literally.
Okay. Yeah, I had the same thing in science, especially in my grad degree. I had to work in a lab and it was all men, and I had a great experience, thank God. They were so sweet. But in general, like, being in science and a woman's really intimidating. It's very well versed with men, and actually next door was like a woman that I really looked up to. So again, I was really fortunate in that circumstance. I had her to go to, whatever. But being in science is really intimidating, let alone being a female, and you almost like want to do 20 times more the effort and like to know everything when that's not possible. You're there to learn, but yeah, it's rough because when I started, my poor PI, if he's watching, so sorry. He was like, "Do you know what this is?" And I'm like, "Yep." And he's like, "Okay." And he didn't mansplain it.
Yeah.
And I was like, that was so nice. And then I left and I was like, I gotta Google that. But I did. I figured it out.
Yeah.
Got my degree in 2 years, which is like the norm. But because of the pandemic, I was like one of maybe me and one other girl out of like 15 graduated on time. So I got my shit together. But yeah, so I was fortunate, but I've been mansplained to before on like dumb shit.
Yeah.
Like being a cashier. The guy that owned the place was like, "So this is how you work this." I'm like, "I can read buttons. Thank you." Or like if I, bullshit like, "Oh, you didn't put that away." And I'm like, "I got here 20 minutes ago. I'll put it away." He's like, "Okay, well, make sure you do this, this." I'm like, I'm putting stuff on a shelf.
Yeah.
Sit down. I'm not stupid.
That's funny.
Maybe I just have a bad attitude towards like being told what to do.
No, I think there's a difference between someone genuinely wanting to help and give advice and make you better, and then there's other people who are like, "Let's hear me talk."
Do you find something different in a woman? Like, have you had any female mentors or like bosses?
Honestly,
good or bad?
Not yet.
Good.
Not yet. I have not had, no, I honestly have not even had like female mentors or bosses, and I would love that. Like, I have currently, like, at Liberty, there's a lot more supervisors right now that are women, but I was already friends with them before. Right. So we have this really beautiful relationship already.
It's a friendship, not a mentorship.
Yeah. And they know I'm not out of place ever. Like, they're not like worried about me being but
because there's two sides to that. Women can be degrading, condescending, pull you down, make you look stupid, and then there's the beautiful women that just want to help you, take you under their wing, lift you, give you opportunities. Yeah, I want to be that woman.
I think that's gonna happen in my life though. Like, I would love to have a woman mentor. Yeah, like someone in the arts who
J-Lo?
like oh my God, don't even. I would cry like that. I think sitting down with Jennifer Lopez would be the most special meeting. I would love to hear her insight on things and her experiences, and because she goes about everything so beautifully and gracefully, you know, like.
All right, if you are looking for a mentor-e.
Yeah, J-Lo, I'm here.
Agreed. I think in science too, it's really scary to be a woman. It could just be my own insecurities.
No, I don't think so.
What would you recommend to a young woman entering your fields?
That's a really good question. What would I recommend?
I would say right off the bat, especially in science, I just want to give a little tidbit on my experience. And the world today has really changed science, and so what's unfortunate about research, especially at a school where it's funded by the school and then external grants, you almost need to produce statistically significant results, meaning that whatever you found was valuable to the study, when failure is a part of learning. And unfortunately, when you get money, it's because you're doing well and you're successful. So I've noticed that recently, especially with COVID, papers that are being published, I'm reading, mind you, it's hard for me to read, and I've been doing this for a living, so I can only imagine people that don't have a scientific background. But, there's things coming out now, like for the public, results were swayed, they left things out, the statistician tweaked something, crazy things. So I think as a woman, if you were to ever, and they teach you this in school, especially where I went, it was a scientific-based school, you never compromise the study. And I don't have a personal experience where that I had to make a decision, but as a woman, I can only imagine me just being new versus me being in a serious study where I, played a big part and I saw shit going down that was wrong. I'm sure it's really difficult for anyone to speak up, but especially a woman. And I just think any young woman trying to be a scientist, a doctor, anything, speak up if you see something going wrong. It probably happens more often than not. I wouldn't say like grad school research because it's, on a much smaller scale. But if you were to become a doctor, I have doctor friends and nurse friends, and they see things that they probably shouldn't see, and reactions and prescriptions, and it's just, so be strong. Yeah. Say what you have to say. Don't back down. Even if you are a shyer, girl, I think it actually would mean more from someone that was quieter, that did speak up versus me. They're always like, shut up. But it's very I don't know. Science is very important. Not that yours is not important, but ours could be life or death.
Yeah. We're not curing cancer. We're giving people light. So
definitely just, even if you're a shy person, because most people that are super smart may not have the best social skills. It's just like a common thing. They're more introverted. I would just say find someone or somewhere that you feel comfortable and say what you got to say. Don't ever, lose your dignity kind of thing, or your reputation. Yeah. Just hold it tight.
Yeah. If I had to give advice to a young woman moving into the music industry or the entertainment field, I would definitely say, I love the saying fail forward, because failing is going to happen. It's what you do after the failing. I fail once a day. You know what I mean? I don't crumble and, this isn't working and whatever. No, okay, that didn't work. What do I learn from that? I think the stigma around failing is just ridiculous, because they're like, oh, you failed. Everyone just wants to point a finger and be like, you failed. It's not about that, at all. It's about showing up, knowing you're going to fuck up and fixing it. You know what I mean?
Being there to learn.
Yeah. If I look at the first song I ever made, literally embarrassing.
I'm a fan of that.
No, not Loving Me Up. I love Loving Me Up. But I'm talking about the first one I ever wrote or whatever. If I looked at that and was like, oh, I'm not good at this, I'm not going to go through with it or whatever. That's just not how it works. I'll tell a story though of how failure actually got me to the next level of my career. I was offered to open for Konstantin Maroulis, who was an American Idol alum. And he was on Broadway. This was outside MetLife Stadium at the Meadowlands State Fair. I was offered to open for him. I had none of my own music. I was doing cover songs. I was nervous as shit. I was freaking out, but I really wanted to do it. I knew that that's what I wanted to do, and I was so excited. So I'm shaking in my fucking shoes. Like, I'm so nervous. Like, there's a huge crowd because it was Constantine. So I get out. I'm doing my thing. I'm up there by myself doing all cover songs, and the music shuts off.
I know, I was there.
The music fucking shut off. And I was like, I literally, no, the audience had secondhand embarrassment for sure. It was so, oh my God. I literally remember that feeling of being like, what the fuck do I do? And I was like, I think we're having some technical difficulties. We kind of tried to like brush it off a little bit and whatever. Long story short, we got out of that. They turned the music back on. I continued, but I was just like distraught when I got off stage. Like, I was like, that was traumatizing. Like, so scary.
Even your fault.
So scary. So then there's this record producer on the side of the stage who was like, oh, I hate when that happens. Like, you know, that's probably been like, you know, a performance for you that you've done so many times, so you're probably used to it. And I was like, honestly, no. I was like, that was my first time on stage, like as me, just like singing cover songs, like not in a musical or whatever. And he was like, wow. He was like, you handled that really professionally. He was like, you handled the failure really well. And he was like, well, he was like, here's my card. If you ever want to make music like of your own and this and that, like call me. And I'm like, oh, this is probably just someone trying to take my money, blah, blah. I put it in my bag, never thought of it again. Long story short, I found it like 2 weeks later and I was like, maybe I'll just give him a call. And he told me that he was actually more impressed with the way I handled my failure than my overall performance. Like, he was like, you were great. He was like, but I'm more impressed with how you handled yourself. He's like, because it takes, that's a huge thing. And that's how I made Love Me Up. Like, and I think about it and I'm like, if I didn't fail in that moment, maybe that guy would have never given me his card. You know what I mean? Like, cause then I'm just somebody else singing or whatever. Like, there's always gonna be fuck ups. It's more about how you go about it and how you persevere through it. Because I literally, and like online, like you're gonna post things and it's not gonna do well. And like, don't beat yourself up about it. It's really not that big of a deal. I feel like people love to like claw on that and be like,
women
oh, that
put
was
so much pressure on themselves.
Yeah, and like,
I don't
it's
know if
not
that's the
like
same for men. I'd actually be curious to ask.
Yeah.
But I think being a woman, I'm sure, I know my friends, we put so much pressure on ourselves. We want to bring the best of the best, our A game.
Right.
And it's probably a subconscious thing. Like, why do we feel the need to do that when, like, Brian over here is fucking skating by, just coming to work to do his job and bare minimum.
Right.
And I'm over here like, let me cross-train. Let me do whatever I need to do.
Right.
Let me come super prepared. Maybe always nice and smiley.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
no, I just literally post what you want, find out what feels good to you, you know, do your brand. There were so many moments where I was like, oh, maybe I should be doing this or doing what everyone else is doing. And then I was just like everybody else. When I finally started posting on TikTok a little more about like my personal life, like pizza, like, I don't know, the Italian food, my dad, like, you know, being Italian, growing up Italian, like that started to hit. And I was like, oh, like I never thought that was like something people would want to know about me. And like, I don't know, just kind of stuck. And the more that I kind of opened up into that of like sharing that on my social media, I feel so much more like myself.
Yeah.
Because I got to really like channel who I really was, where I came from, my culture, my pride, where my dad's from, like, and that feels so beautiful. And I love doing that. Like, I love making Sundays at Jackie's videos. It's so much fun.
That is beautiful. And I think that is the perfect closer.
Okay.
So, ladies, we're proud of you. We are here for you. And be a bitch if you feel like being a bitch.
Yeah, be a bitch.
Yeah. I just, you know, don't let anyone tell you to smile or all that bullshit. Just be strong.
Yeah.
Okay. Feel free to share with us what you guys do for work. I am personally so curious to know if other women have struggled with mansplaining, someone fucking telling you to smile or some bullshit.
Yeah.
Or if they've had great experiences. Like I said, I feel like the men that I've worked with are like, you have your period? Are you okay? Do you want to go home? Do you need a muffin? Like, So just tell us both sides.
Yes.
And yeah, I'm curious what our listeners do for a living.
Yeah. How many jobs do you work?
Yeah. Back then, now, what you want to do.
Yeah.
We'd love to hear about it. Yeah. Okay, so thanks for tuning in. We had a blast. Kind of a little annoyed, but I'm like fired up. But feel free to comment, give us 5 stars, post us, comment, whatever you want to do.
Whatever you want to do.
We're grateful.
Okay. Love you all.
Bye.
Bye.